I think that for Whittaker, he has more ways to win in some ways, right? I expect him to probably rely more heavily on a grappling-based game plan for this one. I think that's where he has his best shot, right? That's no mystery. Can he do that? In order to do that, he has to deal with that long range and the long-range weapons of Adesanya. No easy task. I think Whittaker, something that Whittaker does really well is that karate-style blitz. We see it from Wonder Boy and other guys who come from that background. I don't think he can do that against someone like Adesanya. I think that would allow Adesanya to counter with power. So him not being able to utilize that weapon, or I assume he's not going to utilize that weapon as much, is going to hurt him and throw him off a little bit. Not to say he can't use it at all, but he's not going to be able to use it as often. When you're crashing into high-level counter-strikers like Adesanya, that's when he takes advantage of you. That's what happened in the last fight. I assume he's going to have to mix that up and change that a little bit. When you take out a major weapon, a major tool out of your toolbox, that can throw you off. That can make you less patient. And Adesanya clearly trying to get him more emotional. It's like, first thing Brian says, about Whittaker is that he's a nice guy. I believe that to be true as well. Adesanya clearly going at probably, a weakness of Whittaker. It's like everyone knows he's a nice guy, and he's basically trying to make Whittaker, look like a punk, like he's a fake. That would certainly get someone emotional. And I think Adesanya is trying to get into his head. Will it work the second time around? I don't know. I think Whittaker learned from his mistake of being overly emotional. I think we're going to get a much better fight. While Whittaker can win this fight, will he win this fight? No, I'm going to go with Adesanya here. I think his counters, his range, his focus for this fight, he seems really ready to go here. I think he knows the challenge that Whittaker brings. And I think we're going to see a very sharp Adesanya because of it.
So you guys keep fucking asking, so I'm gonna have to make an excuse for myself, fucking excuses like assholes, we all got them. But no, I watched a lot of this fucking guy's fights, man, and he was like hands up, down the pipe, fucking wars, and I didn't fucking get that. He shot a couple times, I stuck him a couple times, I didn't get that that fucking jack hands up, down the fucking pipe war. Fucking is what it is, man. Sorry guys, I just couldn't catch my rhythm, wasn't the fight I was expecting. Anyways, once again, thank you guys for the support.
Do you think, and I'm putting you on the spot here and you don't have to answer this question, but do you think the fact that Francis is, because he is an intimidating force, there's no question about it. We see the power. And yes, somebody as skilled as yourself and John and myself as well, you can look and you can see shortcomings in terms of the technique from Francis. Mm-hmm. However, there is still that sickening power that he has. That is so terrifying. And do you think that's the reason why John hasn't come back yet? Do you think he's the back of his mind a little intimidated, or do you think he's just waiting for the perfect time?
I think he's waiting for the perfect time. I don't think John's afraid. I think that he didn't want Francis Ngannou to be his first fight. Which I can't.
Certainly seems like it.
Yeah, I can't knock him for that. And I think this works out perfectly where he can work his way in. And I think he would like to work his way into the division. And Stipe is that perfect guy as far as the size. He's a little heavier than the guys John's probably been fighting. But he's not a full-size heavyweight that's cutting down to 265 like your Francis Ngannou's, your Shoguns, maybe not financially, but tactically, it makes a lot of sense. I'm not knocking John for the way he's managing it or the direction he's taken as far as who he's trying to get. It just doesn't do for me what I want to see out of John. And it's not a terrible matchup for Stipe either. Jon Jones is not a power striker. He's not a big puncher. Everything he does dangerous is from the waist down. So it's not bad for either guy. It just doesn't do anything very selfishly. I don't think I'll learn what I want to learn from that.
So for me with John, obviously, when I'm looking as a fan, I'm looking as a colleague, a former fighter. You've been in there with John. You went 5 rounds with the guy, so I would be remiss if I never asked you. And you just mentioned the power punch. He's not a power puncher. He's not a power striker. And maybe some of the kicks are powerful because he knocked out DC and kicks are different. But you're absolutely right. He's not a devastating puncher. He's technically very good, tactically very good, good wrestling. He's got the whole package.
I wouldn't even go that far. And a lot
you
of
wouldn't?
and a lot of that stuff, no. Like, I think if you, even after being, and I'm not taking anything away from him, he beat me fair and square, and he shut me down for sure. If you take each individual skill that Jon has, in my opinion, I don't think any of them are elite. If you're talking just boxing, I never felt like he was an elite boxer. He was just hard to get to. He didn't have
certainly with the
power.
fingers.
Yeah, he didn't have crazy power in his hands. He wasn't crazy fast. He didn't set any traps. He wasn't tricky. He didn't show a lot of feints. If we're talking just wrestling stuff, I'm by no means known as a wrestler, and I stuffed a fair amount of takedowns when we were just wrestling. When we got close in the clinch, he had a lot of leverage, so he got me down a couple times there. But jiu-jitsu, he wouldn't even attempt to engage with me in the jiu-jitsu game. Anytime he thought we were going to have to start grappling, his coaches were just telling him to get the fuck out of there. So I guess I don't know how good his actual jiu-jitsu is, but he didn't want to be there for sure. And then, like kicking, his kicking game is good. It's nothing fancy though. There's not anything that you've never seen before there. Like, I've been in there with guys where they, like Thiago Santos. It's a goddamn problem. Like, you don't know where it's coming from. It's crazy fast. It's super powerful. Jon's not like that. It's just he manages distance better than anyone I've ever been in there with, and he just shuts you down.
And strategically, he always comes with a very, very good game plan. He has a high fight IQ, and he comes up with a good plan on how to beat his opponents. But what I was going to ask you was about the power punching type scenario that you mentioned. You've been in there. You felt his punches. I mean, and how were they?
He's just not a power puncher. He doesn't put a lot. And I don't know if it.
Did he hurt you?
No, never. Not with any punches. Honestly, the one thing this is fun. I don't know if I've ever said this out like on air anywhere.
Well, please.
For like 6 months, I had a numb spot right under my belly button. He front kicked me so many times that it killed the nerves, like in the skin, where I had this just dead spot where I couldn't feel anything. And then when the nerves started to like grow back, it would just feel like every once in a while I'd just be standing there and I'd get this flash where it felt like I was on fire, just in this one little, like a $50 size, where it would just, the skin would just be burning. And that was the worst. It was terrible.
So he's not that bad then. Do you know what I mean? He actually managed to numb your nerves. Kill the nerve endings in your stomach.
In my stomach,
Yeah, something tells me you want to fight that guy again pretty badly.
Yeah, I would like to. It's not even the loss. It's more
the challenge.
I just didn't perform the way I wanted to. So in my head, I feel like, did you ever have a fight or maybe had a loss where it's not even a loss that bothers you? It's that you didn't show up, or you didn't get a fair shake at it for whatever reason. That's how I feel about that one. Like the Glover fight, of course I want that back, but it's what it means. I think, getting close to the title. The Glover one doesn't keep me up at night. It is what it is. He beat me. The Jon Jones fight bothers me because I just feel like that wasn't me. And if I had showed up and he beat me and that's what I had to give, then, fair to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is what it is. But